I walk over to the stone bed and sit on it, leaning against the wall and looking up at the ceiling. Liz is no longer in my sight, but I can still feel and hear her presence on the other side of the bars.
Are you okay?
I don't answer her at first.
You remember how I said that Raynar spoke very highly of you?
Yes. She takes a deep breath.
That was an understatement. He saw something in you that even I can't explain.
I mean, I noticed. He said he, for some reason, immediately asked me to take care of his son forever.
Yep.
I hear her take a couple steps away.
If you truly didn't kill Raynar, then don't take that for granted.
She pauses, waiting for a response from me, but I don't give her one. My mind is racing with the idea that I only have 9 days to figure this out. What she said about Raynar resonates with me, though.
Now, this is one thing that I want to, like, kind of call out, because I do get a little tired of Richter sometimes, and my immediate gut reaction is sort of frustration when we have so many characters just kind of Mary suing the hell out of him, where they're just like, God, he's just wow, that Richter, man. Richter, though, like, gosh, he's so incredible, Richter. But, like, I am curious in, like, Raynar's case in particular. It's like, what do we, because he wanted to talk to us about something after the ball, and then he died. Like, knowing what we know now, do we have any theories there about, like, what that might have been? Because I'm wondering if it's supposed to be that he had a hunch seeing what we were going through. Like, he maybe knew the thing that Bird Doctor came and talked to us about. And was like, I think you're the guy.
Richter, and will you marry me?
What it's, I'm trying to come like putting myself in the lore. It's like, if I was king, if I knew that there's a guy who came to my castle who can see the future, or not, literally the opposite of what I just said, who can see the past, maybe that's sort of his thinking there. If he somehow clued into that super fucking fast, that like, hey, you should help my son when he's king, because you would actually be like kind of a good advisor. That was the case. I'm giving a lot of credit to the idea that like he actually knew that somehow, or that makes any sense at all. But I'm just trying to like clue into.
Remember, he has only ever seen the past, right?
Yes, definitely.
Do we have any idea who got attacked in the dark that one time? Because that was like one of the first visions, is him running through the dark hallway of the castle, and then something like.
Now the weird thing is, I feel a little bit like those first few visions were maybe a bit of a Patreon syndrome of like, we've decided that our protagonist is going to have visions. We have not decided if those are going to be real or not. I feel like him being tied down and force fed something, as well as the like character coming at us through the dark, like those were so surreal and kind of like, we can't describe like what is physically going on here, because it was like, especially the person in the castle, they described
like fan submission type stories that happens in kind of games like this sometimes.
I don't know about fan submission, just more I think those were supposed to be like Echo style like nightmares that are hinting at what's going to happen.
Well, yeah, not necessarily written by the. Oh, you meant like, even when you said Echo style, I thought you meant like kudzu. Like
no, because I'm thinking about like
stories and things.
You know, in the very beginning of Echo, we had like weird, like, you know, chase dreams of, you know, he's got an anchor chain and he's being pulled into the water, and Leo's like, it's all right. And it's like just this weird, like surreal fucked up
more
thing.
Like vibes, yeah.
And that's because they described it like the person was like walking backwards down the stairs. And it's like, okay, I think that's just like nightmare shit.
Yeah, at the time, I was like, oh no, it's a premonition. And then we learned that I think he doesn't have premonitions. So that means it must have been something from the past, but I don't know if we contextualized any of it yet.
That would change how I interpreted that a lot, because yeah, with like he's tied to the bed in that room, being force-fed something. Like I kind of took that as like Richter is maybe remembering something or something else, but like the idea that like somebody else at some point in history was in that room tied to that bed, being fed nightmare goo. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, I don't know what to do with that, so I just kind of default to like, dreams. Anyways, yeah.
She walks down the tunnel, her footsteps fading away. After a while, silence fills the tunnel once more. The trial is only 9 days away, and I have nothing to help me yet. Lyle's forbidden from seeing me, so I can't just get his help either. I can't train any faster, and it feels like I'm getting nowhere. It is capitalized. Visions of Raynar cloud my mind as well. The thought of his true murderer never being unveiled makes me feel empty inside for some reason. Every possibility of that night's outcome swirls in my head like a hurricane. Only one thought stays focused in the center of the storm, though. How I could have prevented this from happening. What the hell am I going to do? Only one option comes to mind. I need to at least try to figure out who actually killed him. It's the only way I can solve this in time.
What did I tell you earlier?
Please spare me the repetition. Tigran, I only have 9 days. Even you understand that it would take a miracle to get out of this. Including the one that I already have.
Aww. You need more practice.
I have to try, Tigran. If I can't figure this out in time, I'm dead. You're not going to stop me from making this decision. I sit down on the floor and cross my legs. Closing my eyes, I can hear their voice get louder.
Richter, I'm warning you. If you do this...
You'll what? A chill runs down my spine. After I cut them off, they stop talking altogether. Then he speaks up in a soft tone.
I will not do anything. You, however, will regret this.
For a moment, I consider their advice. Only for a moment, though. For the past 5 minutes, my life feels like it's rushed to a sudden stop. I'm at the top of the figurative stairs, and in front of me lies the inevitable. Sorry, Tigran, but I'm not risking my life on this. It's now or never. Time to risk my life on this.
8 days.
The entire presence of the cell implodes as I succumb to the feeling of the void. At first, there's nothing. It's like I'm sleeping. Suddenly, sharp pains erupt throughout my body. Blow after blow sends me into a whirl of agony. My body feels like it's being ripped through all reality as I know it. It's almost indescribable. My very existence is being torn in two as I delve into the past. Then I'm falling. The black void doesn't let up as I'm thrown to the hard floor. I get the feeling of recovering from falling out of bed, but it's 100 times worse. This all accompanied by loud, crashing sounds. My whole body ruptures in on itself. The blurry darkness fades away as my eyes flicker open. Did it work? I feel like I'm slumped up against something, and I can only see the window and a bit of the wall. I'm definitely at Raynar's body.
In his body, we're dead.
Dead in first person. I don't really get time to assess my surroundings as a terrible pain strikes through my body, through his body. Nothing else matters in that moment as my entire being is filled with all kinds of emotions and feelings. I would just describe them instead of saying that. It's like someone took my insides and crushed them in their hands. My soul feels like it wants to cave in on itself, but the body I'm in just lays there. I can feel some sense of Raynar trying to get up, but the overwhelming amount of emotions and pain clouds that. Fear, anger, shock, sadness. Not to mention the unbearable suffering that works through my body like a wreathing snake? Writhing?
Yeah, probably writhing.
It's a hot, searing pain like someone's holding a torch to my chest. There's so many descriptions of pain at this point. I can feel the blood rushing down my chest in a thick, heavy stream. I've been cut and gashed before, but there's nothing like that. I want it to stop, but I can't let that happen. As much as I want this to be over with right now, I have to see it through to the end. If I could feel my own heart, I'm sure it'd be racing in my chest. Raynar certainly is. With every single beat, I can feel more blood gush out of the wounds in his torso. It's agonizing, but I need to keep going. Everything seems normal so far. What does that mean?
Yeah. I think he's just saying that, like, this is a vision as I would expect it to be a vision. But yeah, I'm just like, yep, looks good. A hole in my chest, right where it should be.
Nothing twisted or blurry. It all feels as accurate as it could be on that night. He struggles to lift himself into a sitting position, but only manages to turn his head. He's letting out several pained gasps and sounds like he's trying to say something, but it only comes out in mumbled noises. It's devastating. I can't help but feel sorry for him, and yet a deeper feeling eats away at my thoughts. Something worse than sorrow. He didn't deserve to die like this. That feels like the same emotion. His vision falters for a moment, but he manages to stay conscious. Outside the window, snow whirls by. Wind beating against the glass. We got a whirl and a whorl. The shimmering aurora on the horizon peeks through the stormy clouds and casts an ominous green moonlight throughout the room. In that emerald light, I see them. A figure in a dark and shiny leather cloak approaches from the foot of the bed. The hood casts a shadow over their face, so I can't quite make out who they are. Lightning strike, though? Lightning strike? They have to show their face at some point, though, so I hold on. They don't have to show their face at some point. Why would they have to show their face? For the kiss? They slowly walk towards the body, slumped on the floor in front of them. They're covered in blood all over the front of their body and brandishing a long pointed dagger. It's the exact dagger from that night. Seeing the weapon that caused these wounds makes them hurt even more. The gnarled shape of the blade would make even the strongest man writhe in agony. Blood runs down the base of the blade and drips past the guard and onto the floor in front of them in dark puddles. None of the blood seems to be seeping into the clothing. It just flows right off in thick streams. They hold the tip of the blade close to their face, as if looking at it, though I can't know for sure. Their hands start to shake slightly, but steadies them as they turn and look at Raynar. But they steady them? I can't even see their eyes, but I can feel their vision piercing into my soul. Another strange thing is the fact that the curtains are flowing like there's light breeze. But the window isn't open. The pain that was once unbearable is now slowly beginning to numb as I feel Raynar's body lose its hold on life. The feeling is terrible, and I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. His vision is beginning to become more and more blurred, eyelids wavering. Oop. There was a face. A human face. Which is honestly a surprise. We haven't seen a lot of humans, so my brain defaults to thinking that it just looks like Richter. Lightning strikes outside the window and I get a glimpse of their face illuminated in the contrasting lighting for just a moment. It's not enough to be able to tell who they are, but my eyes are slowly adjusting to the darkness. Their face looks human from what I saw. There it is again. I feel like Raynar's eyes should already be adjusted to the darkness.
Well, he's dying.
Yeah, but I mean, like, they wouldn't, like, start adjusting now. Like, they were in the dark the whole time. It's a male human, I'm certain of it. Not only that, but they look familiar, too. I'm definitely a male, they. But no. That's even more strange. I don't think I've met a human male in Lyre. Not well enough to recognize one for that matter. Something about this isn't right. It's hard to think with its excruciating pain shooting through my body, and all the emotions overwhelming my senses. As I focus on trying to reorient myself, Raynar's eyes finally adjust to the darkness of the room. What I see next is the true horror. No. It's me. I was just right, okay. I almost don't want to believe it. I don't even want to see it. But there I am, staring back at myself. I'd say it's like looking into a mirror, but it's far from it. Because when he stares back, he only sees a deer. And I can see it on his face. My face. This can't be real. He has a cold and analyzing gaze. Eyes shining a tense green. His warm skin looks pale in the dim moonlight. This isn't right. I know I didn't kill Raynar. This vision is wrong. Tigran was right. I should have listened to them. Or it's the moment where we got there, but we weren't wearing a cloak, though.
And we also didn't have a bloody dagger.
I'll try to remember if we picked it up or not. It'd be such a farce if we just flash back and it's like, oh no, it's the moment where we found them. This is useless.
No, we definitely... My immediate thought was like, you know, he was already dead when we got to him. So
yeah.
Well, I mean, we heard him bumping around.
Well, we didn't hear him bumping around. We heard, like, that was just Tigran's voice in our head. The noise was always Tigran. There was no sound inside the room.
Got it.
It is curious that he did, you know, he mentioned the curtains are moving, but the window's closed.
Yeah, makes you wonder what's going on with that. Like if the memory's just wrong because the physics are impossible or something. Like in waking life where you know you're dreaming because if you flip a light switch and it doesn't change the light, then you're still in a dream. Right. Raynar's eyes finally give up and I feel his body being drained of his life. Is that... It's the wrong yeah. I can't see anything, but I'm still there. The scene marches on around me. The doppelganger's presence moves behind Raynar, then he's lifted up and forward by his antler. I can feel something cold being pressed to his neck. Then, it drags across the fur and skin, going deeper and deeper. A scorching hot pain overwhelms my throat, followed by a sharp and unbearable jolt. No. Ooh.
Those are good effects.
Yeah.
Like they really do like nail it with the effects and Runpay. Like they've done cool shit.
People are coming up with weird stuff. I don't know if you've seen 922, but I'm playing that with Bird in parallel to this, and people really push this fucking genre sometimes. I thought I was impressed when Fwog for my game was like, okay, I made a whip pan panel. I made a whip pan. Put this blur panel on for 0.2 seconds before you show the real scene, and it'll simulate that the perspective's looking left and right at the beginning of the story. And I'm like, what? My mind is my mind is torn out of Raynar, and I'm back in the cell. I'm laying on the ground in a fetal position, tears streaming down my face. They soak the ground beneath my head, and a bit of mud sticks to my face as I lift myself up. The pain in my chest is gone, but my heart is still racing. The only thing that hurts now is my head. It's several times worse than any of the more recent headaches. A constant pounding against the side of my head, like someone's banging rocks against it.
Are you okay?
Why would they ask that? They already know how I feel. I'll be fine.
Are you sure?
I don't answer and I hear them sigh.
Richter, I tried to tell you.
No, you're right. I get up and brush myself off, cold dirt sticking to my clothes. I'm still shaking all over. I'm sorry for not listening. I sit down on the corner of the bed by the window.
I saw everything.
That was horrible. I can tell they're trying to pick their words carefully as they continue to speak.
Past hurts. You know that better than most, considering your first real experience with the vision.
I think back to the scene playing out with the Queen's death as Raynar lays there, helpless to stop it. An assassin with a dagger, taking life for some unknown reason.
What you just did, I've seen it drive most men insane. Or close to the edge, so to say.
I feel insane.
You're not. I'm honestly surprised. Your vision, it was clearer than I thought it would be.
I get into a sitting position. Not clear enough. Do you know? It's hard to form the words after everything that just happened.
Yes?
Do you know why I was the assassin? Does it mean anything?
Girl, if a wolf was nearby...
It take a few seconds to form an answer.
It doesn't mean anything. It's just your own mind playing tricks on you. Or... could it be that you feel guilty for his death?
They say those last few words with a bit of carefulness in their voice. It's not that I feel completely guilty, I think back to the night when it all happened. Raynar said he wanted to see me in his chambers later, and then I had sex instead and he died. Whoops.
Oh.
I didn't really think about it too much, but so I went off and spent the rest of the night with Lyle. Then I got a bit carried away. When the servant was sent for me, I took my sweet time getting ready, and when I got there, it was already too late. The servant did it. I just wonder sometimes, if I had gotten there a bit earlier, I might have been able to do something about it.
I know. You've been suppressing this feeling for quite some time. It's not your fault, though. What happened can't be changed and it can't be helped. You just need to focus on what's to come.
You're right. I'll focus on what's to come by going into the past more. I just need to do what I can to fix this mess. Make sure the future isn't as dark. That reminds me. Before I can ask them anything, I become more aware of the sound of armor clanking together. It sounds like a guard is pacing around the tunnel. Hang on. I don't want any more interruptions. I close my eyes and concentrate. Then, within seconds, I'm in the mind's eye. Come on out, Ty. Ah, we're at nicknames now. Very informal with your deity.
I haven't been called that in a long time.
I won't call you that if you don't want me to.
Richter, I couldn't care less what you call me.
Okay. Can I ask you a question?
Of course.
You know that book Leaf showed me?
Yes?
It said something about your purpose. Something about how you're here to guide everyone to a brighter future.
Yes, it did say something about that.
And it is very bright here.
What of it?
Is it true that you know that was going to happen? In the future? They take their paw and brush it along the scales of their arm, giving it some thought.
In a way, yes. But it's a bit more complicated than that.
How so?
Think of it like this.
They place their finger on one of the scales of their arm.
You believe there to be a single future that can be altered depending on choices made in the present, correct?
I suppose.
Well, that's not entirely true.
With this, they slightly lift the scale, making the others in front of it lift up a bit as well.
There are so many possible futures. They're all playing out separately from each other, and every single one of them is different from the last in some way.
The scales on their arm begin to bristle and create waves across the surface. It's mesmerizing.
Each prediction and every decision leads into another, creating the flow of time. One future is not entirely discarded, but simply forgotten. These futures cannot be predicted long-term, however.
They guide their hands over their head as if gesturing to all the different realities.
We can never truly tell which future will come to be or which event is going to take place. We'll never know it's true until it happens.
We? The parents. They lower their arms and gaze down at me with a disturbed look.
Referring to mankind.
Right. Does my future look bright? They let out another sigh.
If I could tell you, I would. But sadly, I can't. That's why you have to trust me.
I still don't like how much you hide from me. Even when you don't have to. You don't know when they don't have to. They take a long, deep breath before speaking.
I'm not trying to hide anything from you. I'm trying to protect you.
From what?
From everything.
You're protecting me from everything?
Richter, I've been doing this for countless years. And I've had a long time to make many mistakes. A lot of mistakes.
A pair of their arms hang limp at their side.
Gods aren't perfect, Richter. And I'm the best example.
I take a few steps toward their towering form so I can get a bit closer. Yes, but you've done a lot more good than bad, right? They look at me with a downhearted gaze.
Of course, but I can never make up for all of it.
Their chest heaves and they relax a bit.
This is what it is, Richter. This is what it is to be a god. They are sheep and you are their shepherd. Except there is no wolf.
I know one. It's my wolf.
Only the sheep. And you sit there trying to stop the rams from killing each other. To no avail.
For a moment, I catch a glimpse of sadness in their eyes. It quickly fades, however. I never thought of it like that.
It's just the way things are. Us gods can only help from the shadows. We cannot interfere with mortal affairs too much.
Tigran, may I ask you a question? Stop. I hate when people ask this, but you've already done it twice this conversation.
Yeah.
Just ask the question. They're literally in your brain, and they're entire, and you only interact with them for the purpose of asking questions. That's why they're here. Their smile turns to a wary frown.
Yes. I will try to be as open as I can with you.
Who was Alverton? The name slips from my mouth. I see their eyes stare off into space. They shake their heads slightly and answer.
If you truly must know, I feel it is only fair given you were able to unearth that vision to begin with. Not only that, but I was the one who pushed you to try for something a bit new.
Their arms wave to and fro, as if at this point they're talking to themselves. They go back and forth on themselves and themselves too. Then they look down and clear their throat, beginning to speak.
This is the first time it's been communicated to me that they're speaking with their mouths. What do you mean they clear their throat? They're...
You've heard the name before, have you not?
It's an old name, but yes, I have.
There is an island not too far south from here where you currently are. Alverton Isle. To the east of Grimrock.
Yes?
Island was named after him.
They need to make a Grimrock 3.
Over 1,000 years ago.
1,000 years. I didn't want to believe it at first, but it all makes sense. To think I can see that far into the past. Was I right earlier? Is Alverton one of your avatars? A thoughtful look glazes over their eyes.
Alverton was the first. He was my first avatar.
Thank you for clarifying about first. For a moment, I was like, oh. What were you doing in that vision? They crossed their arms.
Instead of asking questions, just tell me just let me tell you what I know I can.
Okay. They lower their arms and continue with a slight sigh.
He was not only my first avatar, but the introduction to my existence. I would have done anything for him. Even considering he's the reason...
The reason for what? Richter, stop.
This is why I don't like to tell stories.
Their faces frozen as they whisper this under their breath, but they continue.
Nothing. The point is, you have a lot to thank them for.
Them now?
And a lot to learn from them. I believe it to be beneficial for you to study their past.
Study their past? Shouldn't I be focusing on studying Raynar's past?
Of course. But when you find the time, I would suggest looking into his past.
Not their past.
Yeah, they said they for a while there, and I was like, do they mean the
I think
other
we
avatars?
have literally just kind of completely lost it with the pronouns in this episode because Tigran keeps switching as well.
Yeah, they're drifting a lot. The mind's eye starts to slowly fade around me. Wait, I just have 2 more questions. I have a list.
Yes?
First, when I was seeing into Alverton's past, I wasn't viewing it from his perspective. I was just floating around him like a ghost. Is that because he's an avatar like me? Tigran places a hand under their chin with an impressed look.
Very good observation. Yes, that is the reason.
And my last question. Would it be better if I tried to see that night through the killer's perspective? They tilt their heads slightly and raise a hand.
No. It would be even more difficult. You know King Raynar was killed on that night, so it's easier to envision it. But you don't know who the killer was. Trying to see a vision of that would be much harder.
Strange.
I really struggle with the concept that like what you saw is just like, I don't think about it. It's like, no. No, I saw myself as the killer. I think I will think about that a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like, it feels way
like,
too dramatic. There were bagpipes and everything.
There were bagpipes and everything.
It was just so dramatic. It was like the most dramatic shit in the entire Vienna until this point.
I'm also just don't know what to make of like the idea, like it'll be harder because you don't know who the killer was, and I'm like, I just accidentally saw Alverton from 1,000 years ago. That seemed pretty easy. So just I don't know how it's harder to not know somebody when that's the thing we're doing already.
You'll learn that this applies to most visions of the past that are so recently laid out on the flow of time.
That makes sense. If you say so. Another reason I'm regretting that proposal is the fact that I'm not very eager to play out the scene of killing Raynar. Even if I'm not the one doing it. Okay. I think I'm ready to leave now. I need to rest after everything else that's just happened. They nod.
Very well. I'll leave you with some advice before you go. Your only limit is your mind.
Look at my crotch, Jewel. Goodbye. Before I can respond to their bit of advice, they disappear. With that, the mind's eye closes in around me.
Another thing that feels like kind of a gimme to me is just that, like, with the reason that he kept like discouraging him from trying to do what he did, like the most obvious reason to me feels like it might be really fucked to astral project into somebody the second that they're dying. That feels like it would make me go insane, is the like finding out what it feels like to die.
Yeah.
I feel like that is pretty poignant and is just kind of there for the taking, but is not really. I think they really were just kind of like, no, you're just going to see something that didn't actually happen, and it's going to make you go crazy, cuckoo bananas. Yeah. And it's like, well, or like, you know, feeling the sensation of my throat getting cut and losing the heat from my limbs as I drift into endless nothingness.
It does kind of feel like it'd be easier to, as far as like the writing about the mechanics goes, instead of trying to explain why it's for some reason harder to view visions that are recent compared to the past for some reason, it feels like it'd be easier to be like, oh, you are not ready to experience the perspective of a dying person. And that's why you can't solve the mystery.
We're trying too hard to like kind of come up with reasons why the mystery needs to be prolonged, when it's like you could do something just with the logistics of that scene, that like from a murder mystery perspective, like why that wouldn't work the way that you think, why you need to. I think that the thing that I really want to have happen here is like, you know, to kind of, it should play out as a result of like, you know, the only limit is your mind. It's like maybe there's some clue that he needs to realize like, oh, if I go into that person's perspective, then I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And for that to actually be kind of a murder mystery that he's solving.
Has unlocked now, but once we get the power to use Tigran's ability and view stuff, we're also locked in a cell. So the pacing gets weird because like it's hard to know where the narrative is going to go besides us just doing a bunch of visions in a row until we arbitrarily are strong enough to do it, which I imagine will happen right before the trial or even during the trial or something, to maximize drama. But if he wasn't imprisoned, he could like if he wasn't if it was Lyle that was accused or something, then he could be using his power and then between each one investigating things and getting information about like the world and the characters, and then using that as a lead to then seek out another vision. But because he's locked in here and he doesn't know anybody, all he can do is kind of like grind that side quest and just kind of just do the one thing. It's just like it's a struggle to go much of anywhere with the character with that while you're trying to do that. It's like he failed this time, I feel like, but then like
I get legitimately excited thinking about the things that you could do with this power in this plot.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious where it'll go, but I'm worried that it'll just be a few more hours of just going into visions in this cell for a very long time, with the only breakup in the pacing being that you could occasionally switch to another character and see their perspective for a while, but that can't necessarily affect Richter's journey, but it would take a break from it at least. Yeah, I'm curious where this goes. That's probably going to be it for this week, everybody. Jericho can go rest.
Yay!
become horizontal.
I'm gonna take a nice long shower and pass out.
I'm gonna delete another. There he is.
No. And why does he look at you when you do it?
That one moment of shock. Like, take the shot. Huh?
That was the first thing we saw of Lyle all day.
Yeah, that's the only Lyle we have today. Is the save screen. He's been standing right here, pondering. Alrighty. See you next time, guys.
Bye.